All right, here we are back to the Teachers Talking Hoops podcast, where we'll be looking at All Americans today.
Potential.
Potential All Americans. Potential. I guess there is. I wonder. As Adam and I were discussing off air, I fell a bit behind, and my intention was to make my upload and today, and that it didn't happen. I got preoccupied by a daughter that only had one nap, and then we were doing a water balloon fight earlier.
That's fair.
And,
That's a valid excuse.
yeah,
As long as you won.
And I tried to make my list at 5:55. So for those of you that are not watching live, we began talking at about 6 o'clock. So I tried to make it about 5 minutes before, and now I'm just going to make it during the podcast.
Oh my God.
But that is a good question. I wonder when they put out. Probably not yet.
No, I looked. Kind of like a cheat sheet.
Season one out yet?
But I didn't, and I came up with my own. So
I was just gonna look up best
yeah, I know.
basketball players.
No, because I tried that too, and that did not help. So I decided I was going to make my own.
So I didn't even come up with a cold open question.
You're slacking here. What's going on?
I went to ESPN.
Yeah.
This gives me the top 100 basketball players. That can't be correct. Maybe it is. These are returners. I have one guy I know I'm putting on the list. Well, I also went on Dick Vitale's Diaper Dandies.
Okay.
But apparently that is I have to pay.
To see Dick Vitale's
Yeah.
Diaper Dandies.
Once we start getting into it, I'm going to start spending some time on Bart Torvik and obviously Lunardi, but then as well as who's the other guy there? Who's the one that does
CBS? Andy Katz?
No, the one that the system ranking is kind of off of.
Oh, are you talking about? I don't even know what they call it. The net ranking, like that?
Yeah, but not that there's like they do the net, they do the AP, and who's the guy? This is gonna bother me now.
I don't know. I don't know who the guy. I just follow Lunardi for all my news. Shout out to Joe Lunardi. It's my guy.
Yeah, I like Joe Lunardi. Joe Lunardi seems to get a lot of hate, and I don't quite.
I don't know why.
Understand it. I find him. Oh, Ken Pomeroy.
Oh, yep. Well, Joe Lunardi predicts like 99.5% of the bracket correctly every year.
Yeah, which is like.
I would love to
I
have
guess
this
it's
job.
relatively easy to get. Maybe 80% of it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Lauren, he does a good. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have bad misconceptions of how good their team actually is. Like their team will get a victory and they'll think, oh, like that moves me up to top 5. Forgetting that they had like 3 losses with teams that are like above.
Yeah. Like, no, that evens you out.
Yeah.
Keeps you where you are, but that's it.
Or like they'll beat a team, and they think automatically that means like you're ranked 25th and their team's ranked 2nd. You beat them.
Yeah.
So then that means that we should move up to 2nd.
I have an opening question for you.
Okay.
That relates to being an All-American, because there's been some argument about this in the college basketball world. So do you think that an All-American should be based off your ranking?
Do I think they have to be American? I thought that was going to be the question. Because I think
No.
I thought in cross country. I'm going to look this one up. I thought in cross country you had to actually be American, but maybe I'm wrong. Do you have?
Well, Zach Edey was last year, and he's Canadian. But my question is, like, do you think it should matter based off your ranking, like, in the top 25, or even below, that should determine? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, look at this All American, and then if they see he's on the 20th ranked team, they're like, really? Because they just go off of ranking.
Wait, so what's the question again? Does the team have to be good? So does that factor in?
Yeah, so like, do you think their ranking in the like the top 25 should factor in?
No, but I think it does, and I think that's where I'm going to go with my list a little bit. Like I think that there's players that like you can be a good player on a bad team, and that's going to hurt you.
Yeah,
And I get why it does hurt you, but I don't think it should. Like I might factor it in, right? Because I think there's something to be said for if you're averaging 20 and 10, and your
yeah,
team gets 10 wins,
hmm
and some other team gets 28 wins, and the guy's averaging 16 and 7,
yeah,
but he's clearly the best player on his team. So like Kyle
hmm
Filipowski, I was listening to a thing about him and talking about could he actually improve his draft stock because you got all these guys coming in. And they're
hmm
like, well, Kyle Filipowski's never going to average 25 and 12
yeah,
because he has to distribute the ball too much.
yeah,
Like you have all these other players on the team that are going to score, and if Kyle Filipowski puts up 30 points a game, that's probably actually like a bad sign for a team like Duke.
yeah, yeah. I think it. I don't know. I think that the ranking plays into it a lot, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, it should. I think we should place more emphasis on the individual skill of a player and the competition you face. And I mean, obviously, if you're playing somewhere, I don't even know, but obviously it's not somewhere like a Big Ten,
So
like
you
that
think so you
kind
think
of.
where they play? So if someone on Nebraska averages, um, I am so terrible in names. The guy that was on Oral Roberts that transferred.
Oh, Asmus?
Yeah, like if someone on Nebraska averages his numbers, would you consider that moving that guy from Nebraska to All American?
I don't know. It depends how the team does.
Like
Like, I,
12 wins.
I don't think so, because I don't know. In my mind, a definition of an All American is somebody who can improve their team. Because you're never going to see an All American on a losing team. That's very rare. An All American is someone who puts up their stats, plays to the highest level of competition, and produces and comes out with wins.
Speaking of high level, I'll get back to this topic. I got a question for you because I listened to it on a podcast.
Is this Theo
Quiz
Jones?
time.
Okay.
How many wins did Louisville have last year?
Are we counting the ACC tournament or like regular season?
Um, I think total, because I don't think they won in the ACC tournament.
Okay, look that up and tell me if they won the ACC tournament. And then
All right,
I think
that'd be embarrassing if they won the ACC tournament. Uh, regular. No, they lost to Boston College. That's when Boston College smoked them, and I was like, oh, Boston College might like have something here, but then they fell apart.
so Boston College was a 10 seed. So Louisville was a 15 seed. So Louisville won 4 games last year.
They did win 4 games last year.
Were they like 4-22?
I
Something
think
like
it was
that?
like 4-28. I thought.
4-28. I'm giving Louisville like 6 games here.
Um,
I'm trying to be nice, but it was either 3 or 4.
yeah, I couldn't believe it when they were talking about that. Like 4 games.
Yeah,
That's
I
so,
know.
and I was so nervous Duke was going to lose to them.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you're always afraid. But yeah, you're right. BC beat them, and I was like, okay, BC could make another run here, and then they lost North Carolina.
They were so they almost beat Louisville. Lost to Syracuse by a point, and I guess maybe that was
That was it.
it
That was it.
post wise. I guess they only lost to Miami by 8,
They had a close
93-85.
game with
It was
Virginia
85
too.
Miami.
They had a close one with Virginia at the end of the year.
Yep, by 3, and then so they got hot. So they lost to Miami by 7 or 8. Lost to Miami by 8. Lost to Virginia by 3, and then
Yes,
beat Clemson by 10.
and that was Clemson's out of the NCAA tournament loss right there.
Yeah. and then after that they lost to Duke by 17, and
Yeah.
that's when Duke started getting hot after
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Virginia loss. So
Yeah, 4 wins, yeah. Although we had
um,
3 last year, so it's kind of the same it's kind of the same thing.
but yeah, now I think that I mean I guess wins and losses matter to I guess they should matter, right? Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be a top 25 team necessarily because you could be a mid-major guy, um, or you could be a team that goes like 18 and 12 or something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
I guess potentially I don't know if you can look at the previous season, right? If you're a team that if you're I guess any player, right? Freshman transfer, sophomore that got better, and your team was 10 and 20 and now
Hmm.
they're 18 and 12
Yeah.
and you were the clear star of the team,
Yep.
then you could say, well, without you, the team wins 10 games again.
Yeah. 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 I'd agree with that. I mean, I'm sure the top 25 has some standing of it because you're not going to put a guy in who's averaging like 30 points on a 7-win team.
Well, so Armando Bacot was third team All American
Yeah,
last year.
and they went. Yeah, that's my point. Is they were 18 and 12, but he made a case for first
Yeah,
team. But I think if Zach Edey wasn't there, then as the center, he would have had a good shot.
yeah.
So that was my only question. I figured since
Um,
you didn't have one, I'd come up with one. Because you gave me my quiz, so I passed that one.
Pass down. All right.
You want me to go my list first?
Well, I mean, I have a. This
Okay.
is. I don't think so. I'm on this list of. Oh, this is a returning player. I don't know. Top 30 returning players, and they're telling
Yeah.
me the fifth returning player is Max Abmas. Abmas.
Yeah, no, he's not on my
I
list.
like. There's no way. Like at the end of the season, so that would, in theory, make him first team All American. I mean, I guess you have to factor in the freshman and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
but like he's not gonna be first team All American.
No. I have, let's see. Actually, all of my list is returners. And I have two, um, I think I have 3 6 years, 5th or 6th year guys.
I'm just gonna throw it in. Our viewers. I'm gonna be the. We're gonna start getting emails from our viewers about how they disagree with me, and they're gonna wonder why I'm even on the podcast because my takes and picks are so terrible, and I haven't done any. They're just gonna say, do you only watch Duke basketball? And the answer to that question is yes.
We're gonna do a special podcast after the first Duke loss of the year. Actually, here's your punishment. Actually, if Cooper Flag doesn't commit to Duke, you have to watch the one shining moment, no matter what, at the end of March
Cooper Flag
Madness.
is going to Duke.
No, no, no. But if he doesn't, instead of eating dirt, you have to watch the one shining moment video.
I'll watch it live on the podcast.
Live?
Yeah.
Do you know how late that is?
I mean, I'm gonna watch it anyways because I watch it every year that Duke wins.
Well, you haven't watched it in a while then. Jeez.
I haven't.
That's got to be at least like what, 9 years?
2015
Oh my god.
seems like a good year to switch fortunes.
The Zion one was really good. That one was good. The 2021 one was really good.
My favorite is I like the 2010 one. I like when they won in 2010. The 2015 one when they won, there isn't actually a lot of like Duke on it. The 2010 one has a lot of Duke on it.
What about the one where South Carolina upset them?
I mean, watch it. Because I was in South Carolina when they lost that game.
Oh my god.
We were down. Because I lived in North Carolina. Well, I lived in South Carolina for a year, and we were down there for. They actually won it. I was down there in 2010, so they won it the year I was down there.
Okay.
And I was so mad. I was working at this campground, and there was no cable, but this room at the campground where we used to do like teach lessons had cable. So I would go
Okay.
down there, and I remember my wife brought me, who was my wife at the time. fried chicken was dinner one Friday night. So like I didn't go to dinner. I went straight there, and she like brought me like food. I was just like camped out like in this like room by myself, and so the championship game. So I was in South Carolina, but we were like 10 minutes from Charlotte, and in North
Yeah.
Carolina, unless you're in Durham, it's people don't like Duke in North
Yeah.
Carolina. It's very much they consider Duke to be like the rich, spoiled, like the people that go here aren't actually from North Carolina, and they're much bigger like UNC and NC State fans.
Yeah.
So the guy I worked with, he was a North Carolina fan, but not a real North Carolina fan. Like he was like, I live in North Carolina, so I'm a North Carolina fan. And Duke
He
was
was happy.
playing Butler in the championship game, and him and a friend of his, like then we didn't work with, like came down to the room while I'm watching this game so they could like watch it, and I'm like in my head like leave, like I'm trying to watch this Duke basketball, and eventually I think they left before like halftime or something like that. But I was like I don't like watching games with anyone anyways. Never mind like this guy that's like gonna cheer for North Carolina and dislike Duke.
So let me ask you now, how nervous were you when Gordon Hayward put that shot up and you saw it hit the backboard and first hit the rim before it rimmed out and everything?
Not really. I think in live time, it didn't seem that close. I mean, people focus on that shot. They don't focus on the illegal screen that happened before the shot to allow the shot to go
That
up.
was legal. That was legal.
I don't know though why. I mean, I do and I don't. I like they purposely missed the free throw. So Zubiak purposely missed the free throw
Yeah.
to because there was only 2 seconds left, and they thought there was no chance that these guys were going to get a heave off, as opposed to him hitting it to put them up three and then give them a chance to like draw up a play.
Yeah.
I didn't like. You got to hit that shot. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like give them a chance to chuck up a Hail Mary, because you could chuck up a Hail Mary from full length of the court and it might go in.
Yeah. I think Brad Stevens might have gotten that Celtics job after that.
Yeah,
Do you think Frank Martin celebrated after they beat Duke?
I do.
I kind of want to see what that's like.
It, I mean, you might see it this year. UMass football is 1-0 right now.
I know I saw that. Gee, I think I read on my phone. Let me see. I still have it. It was like their first road win in like 41 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was could be the turnaround the program needs.
Yeah, but I think next week they play like ranked Texas A&M, so that won't be.
Yeah, they're I think their big bucket game is still UConn.
Yeah, UConn, yeah, or Army, but they always get blown out by Army.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So even with my lack of research,
Yep.
do you have a very clear like this guy is going to be an All-American?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in my picks. There's like two kind of sleepers that I think a lot of people aren't considering.
So, if this was a legitimate podcast and
We are legit. What do you mean?
I did the research. Yeah, I did the research that I wanted to do for it. I would have researched how many people are two-time like back-to-back All-Americans.
What do you mean, back-to-back All-Americans?
Like your junior and like senior year.
Well, I don't have the only. Let's see. I think I have one first teamer on it from last year.
Because, I mean, if I'm going with somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to look up and stuff.
Okay. So if you're
It's
going
gotta
somebody,
be Zach Edey, right? Zach Edey.
yeah,
has to-
yeah, yeah. So someone like that's a no-brainer. Zach Edey's on the first team All-American.
Yeah,
This year.
and like, even if he's not the best player on his team, he's just so hard to stop
Yeah.
in the regular season.
Yeah. In the regular season, he's the most unstoppable force in college
Yeah,
basketball.
because you
That-
can have in the tournament, he could have a bad game or a bad matchup, but he
Yeah.
could have a bad game in the regular season. But if he has 22 really good games,
Yeah, exactly.
he's gonna be an All-American.
Yeah, and no All American's perfect either. I mean, every All American's gonna have a bad game or two, but no, someone like Zach Edey is like you automatically know that.
I wonder. Let me check this out. Because I think he's still. Last I thought he was still playing. 2020. He played. Okay, so if Zach Edey had turned pro
Hmm.
in the 3 years that Taco Fall has played in the NBA,
Mm.
how many games do you think he got into?
Zach Edey.
No, Taco Fall. He played for Boston for 2 years and Cleveland for a year.
See that's I feel like that's difficult because Zach Edey and Taco Fall are different.
Well, my point is that Taco Fall actually played in
Yeah.
37 games, so he averaged almost 15 games a season
Okay.
that he got into.
Yeah.
So if Taco Fall can play for an NBA team,
Can
then
Zach
Zach
Edey?
Edey can play for an NBA team.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's playing for Canada's FIBA team right now. So and that's made up of all NBA guys. So he can play for an NBA team. Um, it's just a
So why
matter
go
of
back then? Just because he assumes that his stock's not going to get any worse?
I don't know. I heard that he was working on his outside game.
You know who
So
else
if
is working on the outside game?
I
Ryan
love,
Young.
yeah, Ryan Young is goaded. I
Ryan
love
Young
Ryan.
has been hitting threes in the preseason.
I love Ryan Young, but no, Zach Edey. If he can add an outside shot, uh, I think Purdue might get past the Sweet 16 this year because you already now if you because everybody wants to make him shoot jumpers, but now if he can consistently hit them,
You know
there's
what though is potentially danger. Good and bad with that is so if Zach Edey gets consistent,
Mhm.
relatively consistent from 3 point line, then you have to go and guard it, right?
Yeah,
So he can pump fake, but he's not going to drive on you. But I guess he could, right? Because he only has to take 2 or 3 steps,
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, I mean Purdue's got to because he comes off the bench and they bring Caleb First in, but no, someone like him's a no-brainer. All American.
I mean, I thought like they always disappoint because they smacked up Duke last season,
Yeah,
and I was like, this team's the real deal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, Purdue's number three right now, and that's solely because of Zach Edey. But I mean, they have a bunch of guys coming back. It's just a matter of will Purdue show up. They're like another Virginia
Yeah.
come tournament time. Um, did Zach Edey play like an All American in the first round this year? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean that like that's his one bad game, unfortunately, when they played FDU. But no, like he's a no-brainer. Um, actually, I left Hunter Dickinson off my list, which will probably shock a lot. Kyle Fipowski and Hunter Dickinson did not make my list. I'm
Yeah, they
sorry.
weren't on my list either.
They didn't make my list. I thought about it, but I added another power forward. Tyrese Proctor did make my list. Um,
Not only were Hunter Dickinson and Kyle Filipowski not on my list I didn't make, they weren't on my list
your
in my head
your
either.
list. No, so let me give you my list. Let me give you my list. And then so at point guard I have Tyson Walker from Michigan State. My shooting guard is Tyrese Proctor. My small forward's Justin Moore from Villanova. My power forward is Trevon Brazile from Arkansas, which last year before he got hurt, he was putting up all American type numbers. So if he can, you give him 20 more games, and we're looking at like SEC Player of the Year. And then my center is Zach Edey. Trevon Brazile may be a stretch a little, but that's based off of, you know, like what I've seen and then what could be the potential. I feel like people will overlook Justin Moore because it's just Villanova. But I mean, he carried that team in 2021 in the tournament before he got hurt. And then he came back and he started to get them hot. So if he can compete for a Big East title, then he'll be right there. Tyrese Proctor, possibly the most talented player on the Duke roster right now. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if he won it. I think he can. I mean, he's going to be an All American player. The only one knock on him, which I actually found was pretty funny, is that people say he leaves his feet when he's passing. But I really don't think that will knock him out of All American status.
If you go back and watch highlights from the Tennessee game,
Mm-hmm.
he was fantastic in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
He was like the only reason that they were scoring any points at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah.
Since Mark Mitchell had a slightly torn meniscus and couldn't play in the game after starting
Yeah,
the
you
only
weren't
good
winning
player
even if
to
Mark Mitchell had
start
played.
every single game that season.
You were not winning if Mark Mitchell. Let's be honest here.
Um, let me. I got two questions for you.
Okay.
Uh, one about All Americans, and two quiz time.
All right, hang
Uh,
on. Before quiz time, I want to acknowledge my guy Tyson Walker too. I didn't mean to
okay.
leave him out. He's my point guard from Michigan State. Veteran guy, can shoot. Interesting. Two years ago, he was playing up the street at Northeastern. Now he's an
What do you
All-American.
think about the fact that according to my top 30 returners
Mm,
thing on this website here, they have Tyson Walker only ranked 26,
that's false. Look at the coach he plays for.
but they
Michigan State's gonna be a top five team all year.
okay. So that's all right. Let me hit you with the quiz time.
Okay, another
Uh,
one. All right, a one for one on the day. We gotta have like a
uh,
little like intro to quiz time. Like it's quiz time, and then
yeah, I need like a sound. Uh, Northwestern.
okay.
Um,
All right,
Last season was the number
20 and
seven
12.
seed.
20 and 12.
The last 10 games of the season, they had a guard that
Okay.
scored 19.9 points per
Yeah,
game.
Boo Booey. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask what his first name was. He- so let me ask you another question. Um, going back to like Tyrese Proctor or a guy like Tyrese Proctor, how good? So this goes back to how good your team is going to be, right? So if Tyrese Proctor or Duke is a top three team all year, what does Tyrese Proctor have to do to be an All American? Like, do the stats matter? Like, or is it just the fact that he is the clear leader of one of the best teams in the country?
I think that he has to consistently put up, like, he can't put up, obviously, if he puts up something like Kea Clark numbers last year for Virginia, you're not looking at an All American.
Hmm.
But I mean, like, if he puts up, like, 16 and 8 rebounds and 6 assists, then absolutely you're looking at an All American. Like, I think if he can consistently produce and play at a talent level that's not the same as the rest of the ACC, but above, because that's what an All American is someone who plays above the talent level
Hmm.
of everyone else, kind of like a game changing player. And I mean, if Tyrese Proctor can consistently produce and get his teammates better and, win Duke another ACC tournament, and it's a no brainer, I think, that you're looking at an All American.
I don't think that your average college basketball fan has an understanding about how good Tyrese Proctor is going to be,
Mm.
and how
Yeah.
clear like of a good player in the NBA he's going to be.
Yeah, because I mean, he already has a leg up. He came from Australia, right? The
Yeah,
development academy.
yeah.
So he's already played against professional NBA type guys, and so you could see it. He was already ready last year, and then if he takes the steps this year, right,
Yeah.
it's the sky's the limit for the kid. That's why he's projected number 6 in the mock draft. Like that kind of screams All American to you.
Well, let me give you my
Okay, yeah, yeah,
All American list.
yeah. I know you've been working hard on this. You had this since Thursday.
I got Zach Edey. um, I I was tempted. So when you asked me about the how good a team should be, I'd been thinking about that because I'd been thinking about whether or not I wanted to put Armando Bacot on the list,
Yeah.
and I don't. I don't know if Armando Bacot's stats are going to be the best stats in North Carolina,
Yeah.
but there's no way North Carolina goes to like if you take that team and you put maybe if you put Hunter Dickinson in there,
Hmm.
but like if you put someone slightly less good than Armando Bacot,
Yeah.
that team doesn't make the tournament. I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I feel. I mean, again, I want to say that Armando Bacot's not a first team All American because he's only a paint guy, but again, that was Trace Jackson Davis. But again, the difference between Trace Jackson Davis and Armando Bacot last year was what? The record. Like
Yeah.
that's really it. I think you're looking at two guys who can do almost the exact same thing. They said Trace Jackson Davis can shoot, but he never shot outside the paint. So I think if North Carolina has a dominant year and he's putting up, like 20 and 17, then yeah, I think it's a time to take another look.
Yeah, I mean, I think if North Carolina wins the ACC, which I don't think they will, but if even give them second ACC, if they're first or second ACC, if they could make, for him to be first team All American, they'd have to make the Elite Eight. I think.
Yeah, and I also think that because the ACC is significantly weaker than the Big Ten, that kind of hurts him
Hmm.
a little bit. Because I mean, the Big Ten, you could play Michigan State and Wisconsin and then Illinois in 3 games, and in the A10, your 3 game week could be BC, Georgia Tech, and I don't know, what's another below average team in the ACC that I'm forgetting about.
I mean, well, you got. Did you say Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I said BC, Georgia, in Louisville, Wake Forest, whatever. You play those 3 games in a row, and you're like, you kind of expect him to put up those numbers.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. Um, but if you're consistently averaging, like I said, 20 and 17, you got to take a look.
So maybe instead of me making a list and getting hated on by our viewers, why don't I toss out a couple names to you that I was considering?
Okay. Okay.
Because I was really close, mainly because of where he's gonna be now.
Hmm.
I was really close about putting Ryan Nemhard on.
From Gonzaga.
Yeah, I think if he was at Creighton, I was gonna put him on, but at Gonzaga, I was considering it.
Yeah, I think the point guard spot is interesting. I don't know. He's a good point guard. I don't remember. Did his brother make All American team? Because um, if his brother didn't make an All American team, then I don't think he. I don't. I don't remember if he made an All American team, but um, if Andrew Nemhard didn't make an All American team, I don't think Ryan Nemhard is going to. Um, I don't know. He's just one of those guys that I'm not sure about yet, and I haven't seen it yet to kind of put him in there. That makes sense.
He was not an All American.
I don't think Ryan will
He
be
was actually
then.
only second. He was actually only. Oh no, 2020 was second team All. Yeah, but he was. Yeah, he was not
Yeah,
All.
I don't think so. No, I would have considered it, but that's a really tough, especially with some of the other point guards that are out there.
So okay, I'm looking through my list. I was kind of pondering about. Um, Another name that I liked as kind of I don't think it'd be first team All American. I think it'd be second or third.
Yeah.
I do think he's going to be an All American,
Hmm.
which I probably is a hot take. I don't think it's a lot of people are going to agree with it, but if the team were to take off, he could make a case for it. But second or third team, Boogie Ellis.
From USC.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get to first because I just don't think the team's going to be good enough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like
I don't know. I'm big on Boogie Ellis for some reason.
yeah, but at the same day, I'm kind of like, is he a top five? Because essentially, your All American is the top five players in all college basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like when I ask myself, is Boogie Ellis a top five guy in college basketball? No.
See, that's what like maybe I'm sometimes too hard on them
Hmm.
because I mean neither one of us put him on the first team All American, but I don't know if Kyle Filipowski
Yeah.
is even like a top 10 player in college basketball.
Yeah. See, I thought about putting Zakai Ziegler on my All American list because he has the talent, but coming off an injury and then he's just not going to have the stats at Tennessee to make that list. I could see him as like a second or third team, but not a first team All American.
I have another list
Hmm.
that has top 100 players for next season.
Hmm.
Number 6, they have Jesse Edwards. Right, that was the
Seriously?
guy from Syracuse.
Yeah,
Who
that.
transferred to
Yeah,
Virginia.
yeah, yeah,
I wanted him to transfer to Duke. Like I
yeah.
want him to be Duke's starting center.
For some rim
But I
protection.
I wouldn't have put him as the number 6 player in the country.
No. Remember when you? Who did you have? Who was your 2021 center besides Theo John? Uh,
So
who was
in
it?
Theo John's season,
I feel like I feel like I know who it was, but I forget the name.
I mean, the only guy he's playing alongside Mark Williams.
Yes, sorry, it was Mark Williams. Like, I feel like Duke if they signed Jesse Edwards, they'd kind of be trying to do what Duke did with Mark Williams and Theo
Yeah.
John.
You know
But I
what
mean,
I
that was
hate?
great.
Can I tell you a complaint about that 2021 team?
Sure.
Since I looked up the roster.
They lost to who?
Yeah, yes,
No,
but
no, no. I actually, who did they lose to?
that's the team that lost to North Carolina.
Okay.
But Joey Baker couldn't get on. You know I love Joey Baker.
Oh my God.
Joey Baker couldn't get on the court. You know who got on the court sometimes?
Alex O'Connell.
Bates Jones.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, Daniel Jones's
Jones'
brother. Yes, Danny Jones's brother.
But you're telling me that Joey, in practice, in one-on-one, you're telling me Joey Baker wouldn't have taken Bates Jones to school?
Well, you could make the case of like Joey Baker have taken Theo John to school.
But Bates Jones, I mean, he hit a couple threes, but
Well, Coach K wanted outside big.
Big
I
Joey
remember I
Baker.
saw Theo John, and he gets put in my category with like Steven Adams and Jonas Valanciunas that I want to be as big as. Because Theo John was
He
just
just
massive.
lost. He lost a lot of weight, according to the podcast that I just listened to him.
He was
Um,
massive. I would not want to take a charge on him. I think Xavier Wheeler tried to do that, and I was like, "What are you thinking?"
Oh, that's unfortunate. I just looked up what Joey Baker's doing, and the last sentence of his Wikipedia is Baker later decided to hire an agent and pursue professional opportunities.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to get drafted.
But it doesn't say, big Joey Baker guy. I love Joey. He was
Yeah, I,
just such a good guy.
yeah, I know.
All right, so not to, I gotta plug my computer in pretty soon, anyways. But let me give you a couple of names of people I
Okay.
was thinking about a little bit. So well, here's, I see, he's not going to be good enough either. I don't think. Um, um, if North Carolina makes that big run, right? You said that you like the lineup, and so there's a chance that North Carolina could potentially, if they catch fire, do be a Final
Hmm.
Four Elite Eight team. Is there a chance that if Armando Bacot is not a third team All American, that R.J. Davis moves up into, again, not a first, but a second or third?
I could see it. Um, Again, it depends on how other point guards are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would pick him over Boogie Ellis for a third team All American.
Yeah.
I think without Caleb Love, I mean, the ball's in RJ Davis's hands now. So if he can produce with it and lead North Carolina to maybe 3 or 4 more wins, then yeah, you can. I could see him filling in for Armando Bacot on the list, but
Did you
no higher than third though, if he even made third.
did you have a freshman on your list?
No,
I feel like I feel like in this day and age,
yeah,
there's a freshman, but you're right. Not one doesn't really stand out this year as being able to sort of make that. I mean, someone could, but
yeah,
it's not like
yeah. I think if we revisited this come around March, I think that if there was, because last year it was Brandon Miller.
hmm
But I think if we revisited this in March, I could be like, oh yeah, there was that
yeah,
freshman that kind of filled in for somebody.
yeah. All right, let me plug in.
Okay, this could be like the perfect time for a commercial break, like a Geico um, commercial, while you're plugging in your computer.
Well, that
Wow.
you just gotta fill in.
Fill in
Yeah, to fill
what
in the dead air.
the dead air. All right. Well, at least I made my list. So, but I think next week for our viewers, we're starting some conference previews. So
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I also had to put together that list.
yeah, no, you
Let's
don't have to put together a list. You just need to come up with your conference preview.
yes, but let's just make an agreement. Let's start
Oh,
with
okay.
the Big Ten.
Oh, okay. I would have started with the ACC if you told me, but okay.
No, let's do or I don't. No, let's do the SEC.
Okay, okay. My conference. Okay.
Yeah, let's do
The
the
the,
SEC.
the tough guys conference. Okay. SEC. Then what? Big
Well,
Ten.
the money conference.
Big Ten.
Yeah, SEC. I should write this down too. SEC,
Don't
Big
call.
Ten.
Did you just call the SEC the money conference?
That's lots of money being spent.
Yeah, because we're the best conference.
SEC, Big Ten,
Big, big.
Big
We can
12.
leave. Yeah, because then you're gonna be like best for last.
Yeah,
So
ACC, and then mid-major slash. We'll do.
yeah.
Let's do like a mid-major, and then we'll also talk about UConn because they're the defending champions.
Okay, we'll talk
We
about
don't need to
UConn
talk about the Big East, but we can talk about UConn.
mid major. Um, I don't know. What's a sol? I don't want to talk about like the West Coast Conference.
But I mean, we can just talk about mid-major. The top mid-major programs.
Okay. So like, what Ivy League is gonna upset somebody this year?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got my list then. SEC. I want to wear my Texas A&M shirt for next week.
What about looking at all these different websites?
Mm-hmm.
They and non Duke players better than me. These websites seem to be high on Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton.
Yeah. As like in general, or
I mean, they all have him ranked as like a top five
yeah,
returner.
yeah, rim protection, inside game. I buy it. I mean, you'll look at him and be like, really? And then you'll be like, he's kind of a boring player, but
Yeah.
he gets the job done. He's really good at what he does. He's like 7'3", good rim protector. He can step outside a little bit, but he's great around the basket. He can catch lobs. I have no complaints about Ryan Kalkbrenner. But will it be different without Ryan Emhart?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I. That's why I like. There's something about Ryan Nemhart at Gonzaga
Mm-hmm.
that just like. I mean, I know they're always consistently good. I don't like. There's something about like maybe it's just name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something in my mind that goes if Ryan Nemhart played at Gonzaga last year with Drew Timme,
Mm-hmm.
what does that team do?
Imagine if he did, then Timmy would have played with both Nemhard brothers.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Um, all right, so my top five or my first team All American
Okay.
is Zach Edey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna steal things. Zach Edey,
Yep.
Tyrese Proctor because you picked Tyrese Proctor. So if I
Okay.
pick Tyrese Proctor, it
It
doesn't
does look
sound
biased.
as
Okay.
bad. Um, I'm gonna pick.
You better not have the same list as mine.
I'm gonna pick Justin Moore.
Okay. 3 of 3.
Um, and then because I want to give respect to my man Kalkbrenner, I'm gonna pick him.
Okay. One more.
Uh,
And Ryan Nemhard.
and my fifth guy, I'm
We
gonna
need another guard.
go with. He won't make. I'm glancing around here. You know what? We are a Duke Homer podcast. So and there we I already established that there needs to be a
Uh,
front on this team. So I'm gonna go Jared McCain.
all right. That's fair. I thought you were going to say Jeremy Roach, but
No, no.
that's fair.
I've heard all good stuff about Jared McCain.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't see him being a first team All American simply off the fact that I think John Shire hopes and intends that he comes back for next year or for sophomore season, and I find it hard to think that a guard that's named first team All American would not go to the NBA unless you were 5'9".
Well, he has the talent
Yeah.
to do that. So that's it's a good list.
Um, I guess we'll have to check back and see who's closer.
I know, right? We'll put the This is record on going on file right here.
I think so. So for next week, we'll look at SEC. We'll
Yep.
do a little preview, and
Okay.
then there's so many teams in these conferences now that
Yeah.
maybe we'll just do like maybe at the end of the preview we'll predict like the top 3 or top 5, and just do that. We can pick maybe what comes in last, right? Like top 3 or top 5, and who's going to be the worst team in the conference.
Nice. That'll go to either South Carolina or maybe LSU again.
Um,
uh, I sound like such a total jerk when I say that, but sorry. Sorry.
it's crazy. LSU. I mean,
I know.
did they get banned? Like a postseason ban after
I don't think
Will,
so.
Will Wade? Was that
Well,
so?
Will Wade has a ban this year. I don't know how he got another job.
But like they were good
Yeah.
with him, and then they just.
Well, they were really good last year. I think they were 12-2,
Mhm.
and then they were just abysmal in SEC play. So I think they were, or I think they went like 9-1 in out of conference play, and then they went like 3-16 in SEC play.
Yep.
So they were actually on the like bubble for March Madness, and then that disappeared quickly.
Yeah, so we'll preview a little bit. We'll put together kind of a top list, put together a bottom list,
Okay.
and I'll hit you with a quiz time about the SEC.
Hey, I was 2 for 2
You're
today.
2 for 2. You got boo.
Boo Booey and 4-20, 4-20 something whatever for Louisville.
Oh, some of these names that exist now.
I'm try- some of them are like really funny. Um, of course I can't remember them now, but
And I'm sure, I don't want Boo Booey's family to come at me. I'm sure that there's a sentimental reason as to why they named him Boo. Or
it's a
named
cool
him.
name.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
no, it's you've like Boo Booey up the lane. It's like okay, nice.
um, all right. Well, I guess that's it. Oh, Ryan Young, according to this list, Ryan Young is the 57th best return. So Ryan Young is like, I, we're gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna go off on a Ryan Young tangent. I will save that for when Duke gets their own preview, or at least
Th-
when we do the ACC. I'll touch on Ryan Young.
okay, that sounds like a plan.
Ryan Young is a,
Tabled to
yeah,
later.
yeah. I appreciate what Ryan Young is bringing to the table.
He brings a lot.
Yeah,
He's an old school post guy.
it's like one comment about Ryan Young. The old, it's crazy how like he looks like he's like it's like you're playing your dad, right?
Yeah,
And he's like throwing up like he just pump fakes 10 times, and then eventually decides to go up with it, and like it works.
yeah. I appreciate that. I do that. I do the try and do the same thing as Ryan Young.
Yeah.
It works. I'll tell you that. From me to Ryan Young, take it. Division 3 to Division 1.
All right. So until next time, viewers, when we get you about the SEC,
Best
hope you
conference.
enjoyed Adam's list and my rambling. And all right, we'll see you next time. All right, here we go.